Hello, Pisces. How's everybody doing today? I hope that you're doing very well. So good to see you. We're going to have a magical reading today. I've got a lot of great messages that have been coming through as I've been channeling this morning. And I always look forward to your sign. It's a great way to wrap up the month. And as I've said in many previous readings, I feel like my third eye is wide open by the time I get to you. So it really gives you the best possible reading. So thanks for your patience. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. And we'll be looking at Pisces. You can use this for your sun, rising, moon, Venus. And really, if you're well-versed in your chart, you can use it for whatever aspect of the chart you'd like to look at. The beginning portion of the reading is kind of special because the messages that I receive come from my own intuition, from my guides, and from my dreams. So at the very first part, no matter what sign you are, you're likely to receive a message. So I begin with channeled messages. I move along to a Celtic Cross after that, and I let the Celtic Cross take on whatever it needs to as far as information goes. It's not just love. It can be also work. It can be personal growth, etc. What I do instead is then look at the expanded forecast, where we'll take a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And that allows us to kind of dig a little bit deeper into all of those parts of your life. Then we're going to move along to a quick mini review. And the latter part of the reading is about the soul. So we'll dig a little deeper into some of the things that pop up this both in the channeled messages and then in the Celtic Cross. And usually I do 3 cards. I'll look at like a blessing, a potential block, and then I do a wild card there. And after we meditate and listen to a singing bowl for a couple of minutes, we'll also take a look at maybe a single question that you have. So I don't do live questions here, but what I do allow for is at the end, you can meditate on a single question. It can either be like a yes/no question or a deeper one where you're looking for some guidance, like, what do I do about this? And then I'll pull an extra card at the end. So that's the basic organization of the reading. It's so good to see everybody here today. So thank you for showing up. Really great to see everybody from all the different parts of the world too. That's one of the things that's nice about this sort of virtual meeting place. A couple notes on how you can connect with me and how I work with Super Chat, and then we'll get started. So for some reason, my moderators are having some challenges putting links out, so I'm going to help them today until we sort that out. But let me talk a little bit about how you can help. So if you like what you see here, the easiest thing that you can do, actually, and it involves just a couple clicks. If you haven't liked the video already, you can click this thumbs up. You can only do the like button once. If you haven't already previously subscribed, you can become a subscriber by clicking subscribe. If you've already done that, thank you. Don't click it again. And you can also opt into notifications by clicking on the bell. Any one of these things helps a lot. And if you are watching live and you want to say thank you, there's this little icon here right next to the emojis. It looks like a $sign. And I can see some people like Janice have already done it. So thank you. So anyone who has given back a little bit, it helps me continue to keep my supplies up to date and all of the equipment and all of that. So I appreciate you. And intermittently, I'll throw up some stuff in the chat just to kind of help you guys with that. On replay, there's an applaud button. It's right next to the share icon, and that works very much the same way. And membership, some people ask what this is. It's a way to give back on a consistent basis. There should be a button that literally says join right under the video. Sometimes it's also with that little $sign, and that's another way to give back. Okay, let's talk about your spirit totem for the next 6 to 8 weeks. By the way, this forecast will last about that long. So 6 to 8 weeks from the time that you watch this. I'm reading for May, but this will go through the end of May. So today, as I was getting ready and thinking this morning, I like laying in bed, actually, I was thinking, what's coming through? And I really was drawn to explore kangaroos a bit more. Beautiful animal, really great symbol of, what did I put here? Strength, speed, balance, and divine feminine. And we can see the little Joey hanging out of its mom's pouch right there, which is really cute. But they're really strong animals too. And so to me, if an alternate version of the strength card could actually be like a kangaroo, because it is divine feminine. It has the baby right there, or an empress card. I could see a kangaroo kind of symbolizing that energy as well. I'm focusing more on the mom in this particular totem because she's what came through to me. So no disrespect to the guy. Maybe I'll look at the male kangaroos in a different time. But today it was really about the mom that was coming through. So as I said here, your totem is kangaroo, and the The characteristics that I saw were strength, because especially their hind legs, even their tail, the kick that they can give, all of that. They're very, very strong animals. Speed, and I actually wrote down some of the speed things here, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Balance, because they're able to stand up, use the tail actually almost like it's another leg and balance themselves. And again, this sort of really interesting relationship between mom and child that exists. So divine feminine for sure. Some interesting facts that I was looking at as I was researching it this morning. It can run at 35 miles per hour. Sorry, I didn't convert it to kilometers for those of you in Europe and south of the border. But anyway, it can run about 35 miles per hour, and it can leap up to 25 feet, which is impressive. And it can jump up to 6 feet as well. So to me, this is pretty strong, pretty powerful. And it's kind of like a superhero, if you will, because those are some really amazing capabilities built into that animal. So what does this mean for you? Well, I think it's great, Pisces, because it's showing you that a lot of progress can be made in a short amount of time. We've been sitting and waiting, and kind of, I feel like a lot of us are almost like a spring, right? There's all this sort of energy that's been built up over the past year. Once you activate that spring of energy, it feels like you can really take a nice leap. A lot can get done. Some of it is sort of taking that leap of faith for some of you. So if you've been wondering, can I do this? Should I do this? How can I do this? It's really a question of when you're ready, because it feels like the activation, it's within, and all the sort of requisite work has already been done. So this is a time for you really to kind of to take that leap of faith. So anyway, I hope that you're ready to do that. A little bit of the Fool energy. Like, I actually think it could be at both ends. It could be either the World or the Fool, where ends and beginnings have a little bit of that same sort of thing. Sometimes there's resistance to letting go. And I can't remember which sign I was reading this for, but I see ends and beginnings. It's just a doorway. It's just a window. So once you walk through one thing, something else is going to happen. So sometimes we just have to have faith that there's more than what we see. Multitasking is probably going to be something you have to play around with right now. So I saw the pace of things picking up. So you have to be prepared to do more than one things at once as well. It's actually not accidental that we see the child with the mom, because as various countries go in and out of different forms of sort of stay at home and lockdown and whatnot, children have had to become part of the family unit more than they were before. Like, you have to work and teach and be with the kid more than you normally would, for those of you that were working parents and either the kids were at daycare or were at school. So we're actually seeing that integration for a lot of you that have families. For those of you that are single and don't have a child, this is also about figuring out how to take care of yourself, that sort of inner nurturing that happens. So whether you're taking care of someone else, or like me, you have a little fur baby that you're taking care of. Some of us have decided to do that too, because we had that sort of paternal or maternal energy that was starting to activate during this period of time. So one thing that I would say too, for some of you, is to look at what it is that you can do that maybe you can channel some of that love and some of that energy into. It could be a project. It doesn't have to be a relationship or a child. And again, it could be something like that little guy. Because really, as I look at Apollo, he's going to be having, actually today technically is his adoption birth date, but I'm going to be doing a video about Apollo next week. So I'll do a premiere. Keep an eye on my channel if you haven't already subscribed. It's a reason to do that, to make sure that you can see him. But anyway, I'm going to be talking about that a little bit as well. So there's a lot of different ways to express that nurturing energy. It could be a project, it could be a baby, it could be a pet. It could also be a sort of mentorship relationship as well. We'll talk about that in just a second. Let me just give a little bit of facts about the Joeys, which are the baby kangaroos. They have a really close bond with their moms, and I kind of looked up some of the milestones for them. I'm not a zoologist or a biologist, but I kind of just do a little research before if I'm looking at a spirit totem. So if I'm off on any of this, don't give me a hard time. So what I was able to see was around 34 days, they go from the birth canal into the pouch. So they're not born into the pouch. They actually kind of crawl their way into the pouch, which is fascinating. They look a little bit like an embryo, actually. I didn't get any pictures of that, but they're very small, and they kind of just get into the pouch and start to nurse their I thought that was fascinating. Around 4 months, they're big enough that they can start to venture out, 4 to 6 months, depending on them, but then they can start to get out a little bit. And it's almost at 10 months that they're really able to fend for themselves. Sometimes you'll see two joeys, and basically it's just because another baby one was born around the time the 6, 8, 10-month-old is still kind of nursing. So fascinating stuff. Really interesting that the mom keeps the baby right there. It's and past the point that a lot of us, like other animals would keep the baby in there. So very strong parental energy that's coming through this month. For some of you, it could be a mother-like energy. It could be a boss, could be a friend that thinks that they know everything and kind of hovers in. And this could be sort of like an energy that could be too much. And so for some of you, this is about liberating yourself from that well-meaning divine feminine, but it's almost like Empress reverse type energy where they can't let go. Because the child knows in this case when it's time to move on, and you may know when you need some space. And one of the hardest things sometimes is just letting people come to you. So if you're that divine feminine type that wants to make everything better, let people kind of like get a scrape a little bit and learn things on their own and come to you and say, you know what, I actually would really appreciate your help. That's going to be so much more powerful at that point than if you come in and tell them to do something and then you were right and then it makes them feel less than. Find the happy balance between saving someone from hurting themselves and then allowing just someone to kind of trip occasionally so that they can learn that they need to come to you. So balance. And good leaders they try to inspire that openness and then keep an open door, and also don't judge when someone comes to you. All of those things will be really helpful. One thing that I also got with this, because of the close proximity of mother and child, don't let someone take something from you if you're not ready to let it go. So I was looking at this baby metaphor. It could be something like a project, a passion, or an idea. Especially with ideas, get that thing trademarked or copyrighted or patented. If there's something that you feel like you truly want to own it and nurture it and see it through to fruition, and don't let someone swoop in. There might be something that you really are passionate about doing. For those of you that are artists especially, this would be looking at your agent, your label, your publisher, the distributor, even if you have like a product or service, whoever might be doing marketing and distribution, you might have to play the role of like executive producer, where you're going in and making sure that you get final sign off on that stuff. So don't sign away everything is what I'm seeing, because it's still a part of you and you should have more, I guess, ownership over that. So, we're looking at this from a couple of angles. When it comes to something that you own, I want you to really own it. When it comes to friendships, I'm encouraging you to allow people to have more freedom, because you don't want to play mom or dad to everybody. They should be able to meet you on an even footing, right? Okay, just like these little cycles, those milestones that I was talking about, and it kind of happens on the quarter year. If you look at it, like 34 days, roughly a month. 4 months, it's a little past a quarter, but that's like a quarter. 10 months, it's about 1 month over. So we're looking at quarters here, 1, 2, and 3. So we're already kind of that's what we have left in this year. So I kind of feel like at the quarter year marks that are left, some cool things could be happening for you. So especially tune in around, 3, 6, look at June and look at September. And I feel like you're going to be seeing some really big shifts internally. It could be spiritual growth. It could be relationship growth. It might be this desire to get out and see things again or whatever. Like there's some movement that's happening for you 3, 6, and 9 months out. Okay. And just like a baby there, like a human baby, around the 9-month mark, I feel like there's some significant movement happening for you. So if you haven't already achieved world or fool-like energy, that's when it happens. And that's roughly the end of the year or January of next. So I've been saying this for a while, but I really feel like 2022 through 2026 is when the significant push happens, the recovery, if you will. We're still kind of cobbling along for much of 2021. It's getting better, but there's still a lot of picking up. This is like a tower reversed year where we're trying to put down newer foundations, but it's still a mess. We're trying to mop up and then also put the foundations at once. And, we'll see how it all goes, but there's some months that are better than others. So thank you for showing up, and we'll continue to sort it out each and every month. This maternal or mentorship energy, like I said, it's stronger. It's strong enough that I was thinking of a kangaroo when I got up this morning. So for you, I think that you may be able to have your skills in high demand. So some people may be coming to you and say, like, I know that you're really good with this, this, and this. Can I hire you? Or because you're so good at something that you're doing, people are just going to put a ton of responsibilities on you. You don't have to be at a job. This could just be like in a partnership. Your partner leans too heavily on you, or in a family situation, people just keep coming to you and putting all of this stuff on. So make sure that you establish healthy and realistic limits and boundaries, and other people are going to have to observe those, but you'll have to enforce them as well. So if people try to go too far, you're going to have to push back a little bit. I also think it's a really important time to heal old wounds or vendettas or grudges that might be happening in a family situation or even an old friendship, because you don't want to be carrying that with you. It's a weight that's going to carry you down. Get that out of your sort of spiritual pouch and just open yourself up to fill that up with abundance, with love, with new things that you can nurture. Because otherwise it's like you're carrying a load of rocks with you, right? And we don't need to do that. It's counterproductive, right? Okay. So let's talk a little bit more, a couple more notes about kangaroos, and then I'll talk a little bit about a dream message that came through for you. The tail is a really important part of the kangaroo anatomy, and it helps them when they're standing up on their legs. They kind of lean on that. It's like a third appendage. It helps them as they're starting to leap and move. It's this kind of like you see it with cats and dogs sometimes. The tail is a balance sort of thing. So what it really wanted me to help you pay attention to is your tailbone and sacrum and your sacral chakra. We often don't pay attention to that. And so basically right here at the tip of the spine, and then also around the pelvic area, if we're sitting too much, that area can get compressed. That part of the spine can get stressed out. And it's really important for you to be able to move and keep that area open. So there's some great exercises that you can do in yoga, for instance. Even just like traditional yoga, there's some things where you can open up that area and really kind of just allow the blood to flow and allow for the spine to be decompressed. So if you're having any issues, standard disclaimers always apply when it comes to medical issues. You should talk to your doctor. But in general, it would be good to move and to stretch a little bit more, whatever your body allows and whatever, again, you feel like you can do and whatever you want to talk to your doctor about. But I'm seeing the sacral area being the focus, and particularly like the tailbone, because we don't really have a tail. And so sometimes that area, sometimes our balance can be off too. So overall, when we're looking at some of the key things that the kangaroo was teaching us here, balance. It could be work-life balance. It could be your balance in your body. If you're having vertigo or dizziness, please get to a doctor. That's something that's really important. But oftentimes, if we kind of get atrophied a little bit, you just feel, whoa. So you have to take care of that. One of the things that I did after I had sprained my ankle was I went back to physical therapy. There's all kinds of things that you do to strengthen the muscles around that, because when you have a sprain, there's a little bit of scar tissue. So you have to build up the muscles all around it and the sense of balance, the inner ear. So train your body. Again, if you've had any injuries, you can come back from it. Just physical therapy. It's something I did. It's well worth it. And it can help you avoid another injury in the future. You just have to strengthen everything else. The body has to compensate. So I see balance, the sacral area and the sacral chakra. I would say first and second chakra. The first chakra is also about like feeling safe and secure, and makes sense that like the 5 of Pentacles card is associated with insecurity sometimes, because the family stuff that I was talking about can kind of get to the core of you. So even that root chakra, sometimes we're not feeling safe or secure. So focus on healing that. The second chakra is where we can express ourselves and be creative and be authentic, and also be sensual and sexual and all of that. So being able to be yourself, I think is very important. So feel secure in who you are and feel secure in expressing yourself. That will also help in healing that part of your body. Let's see what else is here. Okay, this was kind of interesting, and I didn't get a picture of this, but you can Google it later. But kangaroos, they can and they will fight back as needed. And it's kind of like martial arts. They kick out their legs, and it's quite dangerous, actually. I'm laughing, but it's not something that you would want to experience. Rather than that, I do like that they're willing to fight for themselves. So let's just kind of reframe it. Use your body language, your posture, use your eye contact, and use your verbal skills, your language, to reinforce that. You don't have to ever resort to physical energy. You can just stand really tall, show with your eyes and show with your voice that you mean business. And people will listen. It's a lot stronger. It's a lot more effective. And there's no repercussions for just being articulate, standing up for yourself, and standing tall. And I think that we can take a lesson there, just that they're willing to stand up for themselves, right? Okay. Let's see. Okay, the next thing is important. This came through in my dreams this morning. I want to break it down a little, and then I'll show the cards here. But what I saw was the driver's side. Very clearly, my guides were showing me driver's side of a car. This would be different in the United States. So I was seeing the left-hand side of the car, because I know in Europe it's the right. So left-hand side of the car, and there was a dent in it. There was no accident. Like, it wasn't something that was a moving sort of thing. Someone had hit the car, and I was looking at it and I thought, well, I guess I could just pop that out. It wasn't a big deal. I wasn't upset. So as I woke up, I thought, what could this mean for you? Besides the obvious, watch where you're parking your car. Make sure if you're parking on the street or in a garage that maybe just keep the left-hand side towards a protective area. Again, I didn't see like some sort of a moving accident. I saw like either a hit and run or someone like with you not in the vehicle, or someone just dented it. So just be careful with that. But the spiritual sort of meaning that I got with this is a collision of energy that would happen this month. So this was a little note about the car. Again, left-hand side, since not everyone drives on the same side. And what I saw was that someone may be coming close to your life or your energy, and it takes you by surprise. So spiritually, if someone bumps into you like that, you would probably feel it before you see it. So you could just have this feeling like, something's wrong with someone, or I haven't heard from this person for a while, or you may even think I need to talk to this person, and then you bump into them in real life, or they pick up the phone and call you. So I see this sort of colliding of energy. I also think that if it is in respect to work or school, it could have a little bit more of a literal clash. So this is where there could be like a 10 of Swords moment or 5 of Swords moment where you can't win an argument and you have to decide, is this worth fighting? So try not to let them get under your skin. I didn't feel worried about this because I felt like I could just go in there with my hand and pop out this bump. It wasn't like significant. It wouldn't be worth losing sleep over. So I think that you don't want to rush into a conversation, and you don't want to say everything that comes to mind right away. Just sort of say, we need to talk about this, and then use all those skills that I was talking about when it comes to body language, the proper sort of way of saying something. Try to lead by example here, and I think that's going to take you a lot further. Also, just thinking about like going into the metaphor of a vehicle like the chariot. This could also be a control issue. And we touched upon that a little bit with the kangaroo. And so this is a chance for you to prove that you're ready to take control, that you're still in control. Someone might be testing your authority. Again, it could be a child, it could be a friend, it could be a coworker, but somebody's there kind of just pushing buttons to see if they can get you to explode. So don't explode, stay strong, and just be the bigger person there. And then the other thing that I'm thinking of is directional sort of energy. And I've been trying to help everybody with this for the past few months, but do you know what you're trying to accomplish, especially if it's this sort of tricky situation coming up at work or in a I feel like there would be sort of like a decision where the other person's trying to pull you back. So if you're strong and you know, like, no, this is what I want to do. Thanks for bringing up that point of view, but this is what I'm passionate about. I've done the research and I feel very strong about it. I think you're going to be fine then. They just want to see, do you believe what you're saying? And a lot of times teachers will do this too. They just want to see, are you ready? Are you sure? And once you're sure and you're showing that, that's one of the tests here. So this is like a spiritual test of confidence and decisiveness. So it's like taking the blindfolds off in the Two of Swords, putting one of them down and holding it up and saying, like, it's an ace moment. I'm ready. Yes, I know that. Or like a page moment. I know what I'm doing. So just stand up for yourself, articulate your thoughts. And I think that's going to help quite a bit in the month ahead. So let me quickly review this, and then we're going to move along to the cards. So if you just joined, perfect timing. And if you missed anything, don't worry. I recap at the middle point. The kangaroo is your spirit totem. And the main things that I really want to hit on before we go into the cards is strength is possible. You're stronger than you think. But like the strength card itself, you don't have to prove it. That's one of the things with the strength card, that dominance that happens when the female figure is trying to kind of like open up the mouth of the male tiger or whatever, or lion. You don't have to do that. You don't have to try to get someone to say what you want to say or do what you want to say. You can just be strong. And in fact, I feel like this is a case where they need to just catch up with you because, and you might have to catch up with some other things going on. Speed and balance are really important. You're going to be able to do whatever you want to do. You have the divine feminine energy here, and it's been coming through for the past few readings. Yesterday we were looking at the kiwi bird, which is also divine feminine, and the egg metaphor. This marsupial, I believe, it doesn't, I think I'm saying the correct name. They don't use eggs, but there's still that sort of pouch energy, which for me is divine feminine. So anyway, you have this capacity to create something. Don't let it go until you're ready. Stay balanced this month. Really get to know who you are, feel secure. And I think that that's going to help you avoid that sort of dented car metaphor that was coming through in dreams this morning. Okay, I'm going to stack up all of the cards here, and we're going to get ready for the next part of the reading. So welcome everyone. If you did happen to join late, a reminder that you can use this for Sun, Rising, Moon, Venus. You can also use it for other aspects if you know all of your chart. And if you're not Pisces, but you're enjoying what you're seeing, it's probably because I'm intuitive and I'm just picking up on some other stuff. That's how I read. So since my moderators can't post links, I'm just going to say, if you ever want to join me across social media, I'm going to put that link here. And I'm going to have a collective reading this Sunday. So I'd love for you to join me next Sunday, or this Sunday rather. There's the link to that. And there we go. I think that's enough for now. And I also pinned the link at the top if you want some more information about anything that I do. And if you like what you see, another way that you can give back, like I said, is to become a channel member. Okay, so let me go ahead and get started here on shuffling the cards. We'll see what's coming through for you. Again, this can be 6 to 8 weeks. All right, let's take a look at everything. Sorry, it's my neighbor's dog in the background. All right, let's take a look at everything that just came through. We have the ring here in your catalyst. Really interesting sign here too. The catalyst functions as a way for you to remain on the highest possible energetic frequency, avoid any sort of missteps, and make some things happen because it's called a catalyst. So this catalyst was reversed. To me, a ring would symbolize a promise or an agreement, right? Some sort of indication that, yes, I want to do this. So for some of you, there is a chance that someone could be pulling back on a promise or an agreement or some sort of an understanding here. And the interesting thing that I see when I'm looking at this, it's almost like there's something better on the other side anyway. We're looking through, it looks like an eye, but it's actually kind of like the cosmos in the background. So I think that one thing for you to keep in mind is that if somebody falls short of an expectation, like the Seven of Swords, then what they're truly doing is revealing to you that they couldn't do it. They weren't enough. It's not a rejection of you. It's actually them rejecting themselves and them stepping away from a really cool possibility because they weren't ready. You should take somebody at face value when they can't do something. The only time that you're going to enforce this would be, of course, if someone is trying to, if they owe you money, or if they, services aren't rendered, et cetera, you should get your money back, things like that. But if it's someone that, for instance, you're trying to date or you wanted to partner up with for any reason, and they just don't have it in them, they're like, yeah, I don't know. I think I've changed my mind. Let them change their mind, because you can't afford that. You do need someone who will wear that ring and be with you. And it feels like for some of you, there's someone that's slipping out, and that's okay, because someone better will come through. That person wasn't the right one. That was like a set of training wheels, okay? So if somebody's falling short of what they said they could do, let them and observe that, and then say, okay, but there's like something like that, there's really no second chances, because it becomes cyclical otherwise. Now, for some of you, there could be an unexpected partnership coming, because the ring reverse could be that collision in a different way. And I forgot to mention this. I did see a potential partner in the dream that I saw. It wasn't a person that I recognized, but it just seemed to me like someone that was interested, but you were very busy. There's a lot of things going on. So this the timing may be off for you. So you have to sort of think, is this what I'm looking for? Did it just come because I suddenly wasn't looking, and it was sort of the law of detachment? You've given up on something a little bit and all of a sudden it's here. It could be something like that. So I'm looking at an unusual either coming together or falling apart when it comes to contracts or partnerships. And one last thing, and I think this is super important for those of you that are artistic or even just business people in general, look at that contract. For sure. I worked at a company that used to really negotiate, I think, too many rights. It would be like universal rights in perpetuity until the end of time throughout all the universe. Like that was in the contract. So that means if your product or service somehow made it all the way out to Mars or Jupiter or Pluto or some other solar system, they would still have the rights to it. You do not want to sign away that much. All right, license things, but don't give it away. This not in perpetuity, not universal rights to it. That's too much. Push back, use your virtual kangaroo kick and say, no, kick that back to the editor and let's do something else with that contract. That's way too much. You get to keep some of that. That's partly yours, right? That's your baby. Don't give away your baby, all right? And when you make, even, this is also important. I had a past life sort of experience that then came through in this life, where there was a contract made like until the end of time, and this lifetime we had to sever that contract because that's too final. So it's almost, dare I say, like unholy. So you shouldn't say until the end of time. You should just say, let's work together on that contract, and as long as we're both kind of in that same energy. Be realistic. Don't put things till the end of time. Don't do universal type things. You want to leave room for growth and change. We change spiritually. So even if you met someone in this lifetime, I think that some of those vows that we've created, and like until the end of time, that was when you thought there was just one lifetime. There's not. We come back. Leave an opening to meet other people, to experience other things in other lifetimes, because otherwise it gets very, it's kind of like you're taking away opportunities for growth. Okay, let's take a look now at your center card. We have the two of stones here, and they're jackrabbits, but they reminded me a lot of kangaroos at first glance. But for this, it's hard to tell if they're dancing or they're sparring. And that's why I was saying, when it comes to that situation happening at work, it may actually be someone that's on your side that's just trying to test you a little bit. So try to stay on the positive side of things. Sometimes people just like to argue a little bit with you because it's fun. So I think someone's just trying to have some fun. Don't let them get the better of you. Two of Pentacles is actually balance traditionally. In the Wildwood deck, it's actually called out as a challenge. So I think that this is a challenge to your balance. And you're not going to let someone get you off your footing, your steady footing here. The fact that we see two rabbits here it portends good things. It's growth, it's abundance. Now, I also have a different interpretation. I don't know if all readers see this, but for me, there's a significant difference between, I'm just glancing to see, yeah, we have them both here, okay? So the month you're actually trending in the right direction. So we have 2 of Pentacles, it's reverse. We have 6 of Pentacles, it's reverse as well. These have 2 very different connotations. So with the 6 of Pentacles in your environment, what it's telling me is you have everything that you need, not necessarily everything you want, but if you make good decisions, growth and abundance will come through. And we'll talk more about that in a second. So I see that you have a lot more around you maybe than you realize. The center card tells me that there's, at the beginning of the month, or possibly right now as you're watching this, there's a choice, a trade-off that has to happen. 2 of Pentacles means I have to decide between this and between that, or I can do a little more of this and a little less of that, but I can't do them both. So right now, I think the thing that you want to be focusing on is, what is it that you want to put more energy into? And what is your calling? Once you find that, everything else will be okay. And then you're going to see a lot of growth in that one area. And it'll give you maybe more resource, energy, or opportunities to get the other thing done. So there's a trade-off that has to happen that yields or leads to more abundance in the long run. And we have a really great abundant card on top of it. The 8 of Wands is superb for small business people. I know a lot of you have been struggling. And the 2 of Pentacles, this pretty much sums up where a lot of you are at. And it's been tough because it's sort of been like expanding, contracting as the rules and regulations are changing for who can stay open, who has to close, etc. But what I see here is, how can you better connect to the people? This is a card that can actually be seen as a socializing card. And there are a few decks that have 8 of Wands in that same energy. I have a new one. I'm trying to think if the Little Prince may have it, and I think that this deck has it as well. So what will help you through this period is connecting to those folks. A lot of times, being your friends, your family, or your customers if you're a business, a lot of times when I do a private coaching session with someone, especially if they're, let's say, 50 and above, a lot of times they're not comfortable with social media, and I try to encourage them to just have some fun with it. There's no really wrong way to do it except not doing it at all. You'll learn as you go. So this is for those of you that are like in a traditional business of some sort and are apprehensive to use Instagram. Instagram's great, like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Pick one, pick any one of these and grow on that a little bit, because people are there, they want to find you, but they can't. So I feel like increasing, changing, or modifying your social media presence somehow could be really important. This could also be traditional things like mailings or newsletters, like US mail if you want to. But I think social media, that's the new 8 of Wands. Connecting with people on a global scale, it will be so important. And you can kind of see, I like that you see the fire and the smoke coming out. It's word of mouth and it starts to spread. So don't be afraid to socialize the idea or to branch out a little bit. I think that'll be really important. Okay. So anyway, love what I'm seeing here. The other things when we look at with the 8 of Wands is that if we look at the next few months here, you're going to be busy. And I think I put that here. I said like significant progress can be accomplished. Things are going to start moving faster. So in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it's sort of like these wands are almost like arrows in the air, or like rocket ships, right? So for you, I feel like with these, it's wands here, but the wands kind of take off. So things are going to start to take off. You want to make sure that you continue to feed the fire, as we see, and you continue to keep up with this and juggle accordingly. Ask for help if you need it. Maybe you need to, for those of you that are small businesses, it might be a time to explore hiring if things start to pick up. We have to trust that eventually things are going to get into a better place. In relationships and other aspects of your life, it feels like too much is going on and you have to make a choice. As we look at the deep past, we have the Empress here, which is the divine feminine energy that I was talking about with the kangaroo. She's the green woman here, which I love. You see all this beautiful, all these lush green sort of leaves growing out of her. But we also kind of see this magic cauldron in front of her. And what I would say for you is, what is it, excuse me, what is it that you want to invest in or see more movement in your life? You have a choice right now, and you can't put everything in that pot. You have to kind of figure out what's important. As we also talked about earlier, one of the things that you want to think about is, how much do I want to give to other people? How much do I want to spend my time trying to fix everyone? Can I put some of that energy on myself? can I try to develop myself as well? So don't sell yourself short. That's one thing that I'm seeing here with this. All right, we have the 10 of Wands here, which it's reversed, but this is always a positive sign to me. So let's look at it in the upright position. This is in your recent past. So for many of you, this is where you're at now, if you're watching live. We have this capacity and ability to move to the next level. This is like the escalator, right? You're getting ready to move on, move up, and move out. And I talked about the different stages of the kangaroo and the joey, where it's kind of, if we could equate it to quarters of the year, just a little over. It was more on the 4-month cycle than the 3, but you could look at 3, 6, 9, 12. I feel like every quarter of the year, you're going to see another sort of notch or another movement up. You're tracking in a really good position right now. 10s are great because they show us that we're right on that precipice of change. And I got to get a drink of water. 1 second. Sorry, I usually have my water here when I start, but. So with the 10 of Wands, the important thing is to not lose track of where you're going or what you're doing. And sometimes with that, we get impatient. We think, you know what, I've waited so long and I deserve this to happen. And why is it taking so long? And it's just sort of like that last leg of the journey can be really, really hard. Don't let it be. And also, I've been talking about this for a while too. Enjoy this final phase, because once you get to the top, it feels good, but it can also be a little anticlimactic. So I would say enjoy the journey. And number 2, what you should be doing is figuring out, once I get to the top, what's the next thing? I'm a very kind of like, this would be the Capricorn ascendant part of me. I'm Libra sun, Capricorn ascendant, and Taurus moon. But the Capricorn side of me needs to know what's next. So I like to have the planning side. The Libra side balances me out and helps me kind of smooth all the wrinkles out. But for the Capricorn side, I need to know what's next. For you, I feel like grounding yourself a little bit in what's next can help too, because then it will be easier. The emotional part of you, Pisces, needs to kind of have a feeling like you're going to be okay. So ground yourself. We were looking at the sacral energy, the root chakra a little bit. I feel like grounding yourself in, I can do this, I am doing this, and once I'm finished with this, I'm going to do this next. That will help you get to the other side, okay? So let's look at what your crowning card is. We have the moon in the water here, and the moon in the water is just the moon in this particular deck. And the interesting thing here is it's almost like we'll have this moment here where you do have to stand your ground. We can see, what is it, a bull there? That's kind of like showing its power and saying, yes, I'm not afraid to look at whatever is facing me. The card is reversed though. So when I see the moon, I would say it's really important for you to do the extra work to kind of like dig into things that make you uncomfortable. So for some of you, this could be a fear over like money, and maybe you're not comfortable with dealing with that. So you could educate yourself on investments, on finance, on debt reduction, all that stuff. For some of you, it could be a fear of, it could be some legal stuff. So you could talk to a lawyer to figure out like what we were talking about here. Is this too restrictive, this contract that I'm getting into? What does it mean? What does the language mean? Whatever your questions are, whatever your fears are, just go into educating yourself. The moon is just a reflection, and it's coming through to show you, hey, don't forget about this. So don't forget about this, right? I think that's the important thing with this. Your intuition is coming through very strong with this as well. So whenever I see High Priestess or Moon energy reversed, it's saying that you usually will get a heads up before something happens, or upon meeting someone, or upon engaging with something. Listen to that. It's strong, it's accurate, and it's never going to fail you. So listen to your intuition. Don't let fear get in the way. If there's anyone in your life that's coming through with the trickier side of the moon, which would be showing one side of themselves and then trying to be something that they're not. The ring card that we saw earlier is saying, not this month. You're going to see it. It's going to be revealed. So for you, don't try to get away with something. And if someone's trying to get away with something in your life, they're not going to succeed. This is a month where it'll be messy. So it would be better to apologize for something, to come clean, to take accountability, and definitely people in your life should be doing the same, or else your antenna are going to go up and you're going to be able to see what's going on. And that's the good thing as you start to develop. It can be a little tricky, and sometimes you're like, I wish I didn't see that. But when you see it, you're always happier that you know it in the long run. I really, really like what we have here in the near future. And this would be, I mean, we're going to look at the 9, and I was talking about cycles of the year. So I feel like this would be 3/4 of the year, or like the end of the year, basically. We have the 9 of Pentacles. This is abundance. This is sustainability. This is power, independence. I love it. So this is where you're headed. Where you're at right now feels a lot more like this. Maybe trying to prove yourself. Maybe some days are better than others. Maybe people are driving you crazy. Maybe you can't get people to do the work that they're doing. So you're going to make a strong choice, which in the environment will bring you more abundance. And ultimately, as we look in the near future, is going to bring you that sustainability and that stability that you need. Okay? So you're tracking in the right direction. Even if present resources and energy feel like I'm running on a half tank, I feel like you're getting in the right direction. So don't lose track of that. The only thing that can ever, it's an upright 9 of Pentacles, so I'm not seeing anything negative with this, but in leadership, the only thing that can ever lead you astray with 9 of Pentacles is stubbornness and inability to take on assistance when it makes sense and it's actually advantageous. So if someone wants to lend some support and you're just a little bit uncomfortable with it, really check that. That could actually be the moon energy that we're seeing here. And see if you can't, because if you're trying to do everything, you're not going to succeed with that. It feels like at some point for growth to happen, this is true in business, it's true in life, you have to lean on some people in your life. So the 9 of Pentacles sometimes doesn't want to accept help. You traditionally don't see any other figures in the 9 of Pentacles. They kind of flipped it on this. Usually I see the divine feminine and we see the divine masculine in this deck. Normally there's a woman and she has like I think it's maybe a peacock or a partridge or something. And then she has all of these kind of like, it's like flowers growing around her and all the pentacles are on it. You see a little snail at the bottom, but it's basically saying slow and steady wins the race. You can take care of yourself. And she almost has more than enough because she's dressed to the nines and she has this bird and all this stuff. In this one, we see the power actually. So I like the divine masculine in this because we focus so much on divine feminine here. We have the snake and we have, I forget what that's called, but we have a couple symbols of the snake there. I want to say it starts with an O, but anyway, and we have the antlers as well. This is what I was talking about, listening to your psychic like antenna. I feel like you're going to be receiving what you need in order to get to the next level. So listen to that. I see someone asking about love. Yeah, we'll look at that later. I don't focus on love. I focus on you so that you can attract the love in by being strong, by being balanced, by being successful, by really just having it all together. So by listening to this, you actually attract love. But I have a separate piece with love in a second. So I see the question. Just hang on. It'll come through. All right. Speaking of emotional sides, we have the Page of Cups in reverse. So nice segue. This is you. This is representing you, not just because of water, but because it's in the soul or ego position here. So with the Page of Cups in reverse, the card is saying there's still some work to do internally. And are you happy? What are you looking for in another person? Are there any aspects of that you need to fulfill and create within yourself? Otters are kind of playful. So one of the things here as I'm looking at this is this shyness or maybe holding back a little bit. So I would say one thing that you can do is put yourself out there and not take yourself overly serious and have more fun, basically. That's going to help others want to come in a little bit. It also helps when you're starting a new relationship off. If you get too serious, too heavy, too quickly, especially on the first date, it's scary for the other person because at first you just want to see, like, do we have chemistry? Are our frequencies on the same level? Is it easy to talk? Do we like each other? Once you get past that, you can figure out, if there's a desire to have family, to get married, all that other stuff. But it can be a little too much on the first date or the first engagement. So I would say easy does it with this. For existing kind of relationships that may exist, it feels like some of you need help or the other person needs more help. There's heavy energy that has to be balanced out. And we have that sort of balancing act in the center. So the first test or trick this month is, how do we find a way to take some turns. You can't always be the strong one. They can't always be the strong one. Because this represents you, I feel like it's saying, don't be afraid to ask for some help, and you don't have to do it all yourself, okay? Otters are builders too, right? So if you're trying to take care of something and doing a lot of the sort of heavy lifting, which we saw with this, don't do it all on your own. By the way, minor health message, we'll get to it more when I look at the expanded forecast, but definitely watch your posture, look at how you're carrying weight, whether it's backpack, purse, attaché, or if you do manual labor. Whenever I see the 10 of Wands, it's an avoidable 10 of Swords when it's reversed. It's saying something's off with how you're carrying yourself, okay? But by the way, there's a chance for that new relationship to pop in. I said that earlier, someone's bumping into your life. It could either be very positive or it could be something that kind of takes you off your balance. Either way, it seems like a surprise. So focus on getting yourself balanced and put together so that you can sort out if you want to engage with that person. Take some time to talk to someone if you need to, because this can just show that things are overwhelming. So talking to a therapist or a coach would be great. This could also be just, decompressing and deciding to dance, to draw, to sing, anything that you want to do to kind of like express yourself. There's an expressive energy there. Okay. Sensitivity as well. Okay. This is what we were talking about with the 6 of Stones. It actually says exploitation. Really interesting caption on this one. So with this, like I said before, usually you would see scales. We don't see the scales in this one. And these are actually ropes that are tied up. They kind of look like beehives to me. It's interesting sort of imagery in the background. But let's just talk about the traditional 6 of Pentacles. So normally in Rider-Waite-Smith, you would see a guy that's holding scales, and then he has some coins, and he's deciding, who do I give this to? Who deserves my time, my energy, my love, my money, whatever. And it's not giving it all away, which is the same message that I said with the ring, which is the same message that I said with like, don't give your baby away. Don't release control over something if you need something. So like when it's your resources, you need a nest egg. So this is about building the nest egg. When it's your job and your boss is telling you like 6 days in a row to work 10-hour days, at some point you could say, no, we need help and I'm tired and I'm gonna get sick and this isn't gonna work. And if you can't do that, obviously some bosses listen, some don't. So it would be advantageous to try to find a place where you could get help, or lean on your family if you're working too much, or try to do something for preservation. This is showing that something's out of balance. Someone's taking too much. It literally says exploitation here. So if someone's taking too much, or you're not charging enough or asking for enough, that's what you have to do to balance the scales. If you're ever in a relationship where you can't say no, if they say no, you have to do it, or a work situation where you're not allowed to take a day off, or they forget that you took a day off, or they make you feel guilty for taking a sick day. I've been at places that do all of the above, and it's really annoying. Then it's time to move on. That actually was one of the things at one point in one of my many jobs that helped me realize, like, I'd taken off Christmas Day and they said, we'll see you tomorrow. And I thought, yeah, and that's the last Christmas you'll see me. I let them get away with it. I'm like, that's it. So you have to sometimes put your foot down if people are consistently bad actors, as I would say here. On the bright side, 6 of Pentacles is the absolute minimum that I look for financial success. So this tells me around you, you have what it takes to be secure. And it tells me that you can grow from that. It's a really good card. I prefer it to, let's say, like 4 of Pentacles or even 7 of Pentacles, because from this, you can leapfrog or kangaroo jump all the way to like 8, 9, 10. So you're in a really good place, and you got a lot of things around you that are great. I still can't get over how they look like beehives to me. So one of the other things that I would say with this is the busyness. You really want to focus on not letting something fall by the wayside. So that's where I think you have to lean on someone or ask for some help. Okay. Now let's take a look at your hopes, fears, and opportunities. We have the 7 of Swords, which I kind of talked about with the ring card here. So the 7 of Arrows, which in arrows in this deck are swords and the bows are the wands. So with the 7 of Swords, the thing that could be happening with the other person if they step out of a situation is that they are insecure. If we look at the text at the bottom, it's a little hard to read. It says insecure. Yeah, I can't get it to shadow in there the right way. But the thing that I see with this other person is I feel like they've overcommitted. And this is something that gets lost sometimes with the 7 of Swords. It's not always that someone's bad or that they're a liar. It's that sometimes they're just not honest with themselves, or they're not realistic. That's a better way to put it, because it's not really about honesty. Realistic. Be realistic with what you can do. Observe other people, and if they can't be realistic, help them see that this is probably not sustainable, and possibly forgive them for that insecurity or lack of skill. Because to me, this is someone who's just overwhelmed. And I think that's why it's better just to let them go and find someone who's better prepared. For you, because it's in the possibility or the fear space, don't be afraid to say no. Literally under this, we have the card that is about saying no. And now we have the outcome if you don't. So what will happen if you say, sure, I can get that done. Yeah, I'm going to do this. Okay, I'll see you next Tuesday. Yeah, let's do. At some point, you're either going to get sick, you're going to forget one of these appointments, or you're just going to let it all fall. So don't. Say no, push back, ask for help, ask some questions. There's a lot of ways that you can push all of this a little bit so that you can breathe. You need some breathing room. Or someone in your life is not helping you enough. It feels like somebody's not doing what they need to do, so balance has to happen, okay? For you, the other thing with the Seven of Swords, and this is getting back to like a traditional meaning of it, is don't beat yourself up if you fall off the wagon. So if you're trying to eat healthier, let go of some sort of a toxic habit or relationship, it takes a couple attempts sometimes to get there. So the important thing is that you keep moving towards progress. Each time you do a little bit more, you get a little bit better, and eventually you're strong enough. But because we had a kangaroo, I feel like you're already strong enough. So I want to help you just push that out and move to the next level. We have a card at the end that tells me a couple of things. First of all, again, this is things picking up. We have the Four of Swords. It's a transformation card. That's why you see the beautiful butterfly at the top. It's also a card that indicates sleep, or in this case, lack of sleep, or that you're going to be so busy that you wish you could take a vacation day. So for those of you that have been just wishing that things could get back to normal or whatever, I see that in the future. That's the distant future. So near future, we see like work abundance, more than enough. But then in the distant future, it's like, I kind of miss it when I could just sort of relax a little bit. So I see that there's a busyness that's happening. 10 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles, 4 of Swords reversed. Take care of yourself. Make sure that as things pick up, that you get the proper rest that you need. This is a death and rebirth card. Some of you may be dealing with the loss of someone, also the loss of something. And what I see for you, first of all, if it was someone, we see this sort of healing and rest. It's a beautiful sort of energy. I lost one of my parents to just a bunch of stuff, including cancer and COPD and heart disease. And when you see all of that, you know that the energy on the other side is much better. Like, it's easier. That person can literally like breathe and fly and get out of all of this stuff. So know that sometimes, speaking from experience too, the energy lightens on the other side for that person. So if you did lose somebody, what we're seeing here is an indication of freedom and transformation. Also, the relationship transforms. I've lost a lot of relatives on both sides of the family, and they come and visit me in dreams. So I don't get as sad because I can still connect with them. But I see the energy shifting and changing. Every time I meet them, they're a little different. I noticed that some of them initially didn't have a physical form, then they took a form, and then they were playing around with what age they were going to show up as. And then some of them don't even, I just hear their voice. They're beyond that. They're like way out in the ethers. So just know that transformation continues to happen. When you die, it's just the beginning. And then, of course, we come back again. So this is a process. This is also symbolic. Some of you, if you feel like you failed or like something bad happened, no, this was just one level. I see something really nice on the other side. And we see that also with the 10 of Wands here. Don't be afraid to let go of one thing. Something better awaits you, okay? So transformation is the ultimate sort of, I would say, 9 to 12 month cycle for you that you're moving through. I like what we see. We've got a butterfly. It can't be bad. So move into that new you, okay? So let's take a look at the expanded forecast. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Let me take another drink because I'm talking a lot and I need to make sure that I can keep up with myself here. All right, so in the health card here, we have the power of joy. Kind of like what I was just talking about. Be happy for people that are able to kind of move on, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a spiritual passing, whether it's you being able to liberate yourself from something. If you're not happy right now, find the happiness in your life, because work without joy, the money doesn't mean anything. Accomplishment without fulfillment, it's empty and it doesn't mean anything either. And finding something else in your life that can bring joy to you, this is really, really important as well. So find a way to laugh again, find a way to do something that brings passion or joy to your life. It doesn't have to be, like I said, relationship energy or love. Love can come through in so many different ways. We don't have to spend that money on a person, that sort of spiritual energy on a person. You can also put it into something, making it a better world, doing something that you love, etc. Let's look at some other health messages that came through for you. With the moon card in reverse, for those of you that might have some issues with, this can actually have to do with like bladder. So it could be bladder infections. There could be some issues with, for men, prostate. For women, it can also be fertility. So take a look at how you are eating and what your stress looks like. All of these things can affect that. But obviously, get yourself to a proper doctor if something doesn't feel right in that part of your body. The moon can kind of just show water or fluid moving through you. And if there's something that doesn't feel right with that, that's something you should take a look at. I talked already about the weight that you might be carrying on your back, or just the way that you're holding yourself, something about posture, your chair, something could be setting the back off a little bit. So look at your spinal health. This one is avoidable because it's happening now and you're watching it. I feel like this one's avoidable too. It could be something with a dietary change or a visit to the doctor that you can sort it out a little bit because you have a balance card at the center. The Two of Pentacles just shows a work-life balance too. Are you happy or are you just working nonstop? All of these things are important. I just saw triple fours up there, so good number. Okay, and now as we look at some other messages here, as I said too, don't start something until you are absolutely ready to do it. It's important to be able to commit. And so when you're starting something new, you have to be ready. Don't force yourself until you are. Finally, if you're not getting enough sleep or you're sleeping and you're not feeling rested, another reason to talk to your doctor. It could just be that your schedule's off. It could be that you're drinking too much caffeine or alcohol, or there might be nicotine intake or something that's going off a little bit, but try to detox, but then obviously talk to a doctor if you're feeling fatigue. It could be an indication of something else. So you have a few indicators here. A lot of them seem to be more stress related to me than anything, but take care of yourself and talk to someone, okay? This is also talking to a psychologist if you need to. All right, let's look at wealth. Wealth isn't just your career, it's how you feel about what you have. So if you're retired or if you're in school, it's sort of like that sort of net at the end. Am I happy? Do I get an exchange for what I'm doing, or is this just sort of tapping me out? We have the prayer card here. So it's really, really important for you to have and I like that we have lemonade here. So sometimes a lot of us are in the lemon version of this, right? But the lemonade kind of has this beautiful vision of the future. So when you get lemons, make lemonade, and it's a nicer future that we see there. So keep an intention, ask for help, and always be reaching for something a little bit better than what you're experiencing right now. Try to make the most out of it. I still try to do that. I can't always find it, but I try to. I try to find what can I learn? How can I be more appreciative from this experience? How did I grow because of it? And what will I do in the future to be better because of it? But prayer to me isn't just about sitting there and praying. It's also about speaking up and asking for things. So in a partnership, even though we're looking at work, because partnership's still an exchange of energy, it's important to make sure that the person knows what makes you happy. Express it literally and saying, "This really, thank you so much. It makes me happy when you do that," or I feel really frustrated or vulnerable when you do that. Try to speak your feelings more so the other person knows, and put out what you're looking for. Definitely for jobs, like if you're at work and you're trying to get to the next level, say, "I'm interested in this. How am I tracking? How long will it take? What do I need to do? And how realistic is that expectation?" And I think all of those questions, it'll put the other person off guard a little bit, but say, "Do your homework, but it's something that I want to know about." You have to put it out there that you're interested, because otherwise it's sometimes not going to happen. Visualize and believe that you are worth what it is that you want. That is step one, and that's why prayer comes through. When we look at your money cards real quick, like I said, balance is the most important thing. And then we see that environmentally, it looks like you can pull at some of those resources and you're headed in the right direction. So I feel pretty good about overall money and abundance, but it comes down to, are you feeling like your goals are being met? Have you done what you need to express the goals between you and the divine and between you and those around you? Because not everyone is as intuitive as you are, and they shouldn't have to pull out a deck of cards or some runes or whatever, or a scrying crystal or whatever to try and figure it out. Sometimes we just have to say it, okay? I think that's it with that. Okay, so wealth, yeah, we talked about all of that. All right, so for love, awaiting results. This is interesting because I mentioned here the fertility, and this actually strikes me as divine feminine energy as well. So for some of you, you might be trying to wait for pregnancy results. You might also be wondering if someone's interested in you. I talked to Aquarius a little bit about this. I don't think that it should be a forever waiting game. I think that it's pretty clear when there is chemistry between you and another. And if you're constantly the one that is tugging that rope and trying to pull someone in, it's not worth it. So patience is important, but at some point, if the person doesn't give what you need, then it's time to move on. The other thing that's great here is not to give up. This is also about you loving yourself. Look at the growth that's happening within this person symbolically, and we see a fruit coming at the top as well, coming to fruition, which is also what we see here with the 10 of Wands. So for personal growth, give yourself more time, energy, patience, and credit. For people in your life, give them some time and some ability to kind of move up there, but it shouldn't be a forever sort of thing. Growth has to be something that someone wants and someone works for. It doesn't just happen. Even a plant, it has to pull resources, it has to push resources, it has to process energy. It's work. Growth takes work. So either you're growing or you're not. And that's really the choice that we see with the final card here. For some of you, it's time. You might have to move beyond someone or something that's stagnating. And that's something that we're seeing with this Four of Swords. It's super unique to this deck. This can be stagnation. This is movement and growth. This is life after this experience as well. So what I'm seeing here is you owe it to yourself to be able to grow, to be able to move. And if it's not happening, you're going to have to kind of shift in whatever direction necessary to do that. Sometimes growth is dormant. Things are happening beneath the surface because this tree doesn't have its leaves yet. So for you, you could be in that period of dormancy or sort of gestation or development. So give yourself the time that you need. And it looks like you're going to stand tall and be fine. Looking at just some other relationship cards, the most important thing, I don't like to see both of these. So this is why I think if you're not in a relationship right now, hold back a little bit, because the Moon and the Seven of Swords are like a double whammy. One of them is like, okay, someone might just be, you might be catching someone off guard or something like that. But two of them together tells me that if you meet someone new, I feel like they've got some personal work that they need to do on themselves. This is someone who isn't ready. This is someone who isn't honest. And so I just feel like the person may not be honest with themselves, but that's not going to, or they may not be ready and then they're not honest with you. And either way, just wait a little bit. So if it's a new relationship, give it some time, see how that person shows up. And if they keep consistently showing those two cards, that's a no. If you're in a relationship already, I just feel like both of you need to balance it out. The work, the love, the attention, all of that has to happen. It feels like one of the two partners is really focused on internal growth and maybe very focused on the monetary stuff. And I think it's important maybe to pull back a little bit, just give and take. That's what I see for existing relationships. If you're single and happy, it's a great time to be single and happy, because what I see is that you've got so much going on in your life. It's really about finishing something up right now and being patient enough with yourself to see the desired outcome. So as far as like how attractive your energy is for partnerships, it's pretty good because we have the Eight of Wands here. You just have to do the initial clicking send if it's a newsletter or picking up the phone. But I see receptivity on the other side with this. And it would be nice to maybe even have like a virtual gathering of some sort to help with business, to help with something else. And that's what I see overall. I don't think we really got like one type of person that would pop through for those of you. We have like the Page of Cups, but it was in the self spot here. So I feel like for some of you, you just need to make sure that you're in a good place. And if there's anything that's making you feel tapped out, deal with that now so that when the next opportunity comes through, you're going to be all right. I do think that for relationships where the accountability issue comes up, it is sort of like, it could be make it or break it, but it's kind of, it's not this big fight or anything. What I see here with the Four of Swords is a chance to either transform or the other person's just not showing up the way you want them to. So it seems like it's a pretty simple, for you, you can see it. They're either going to do it or they're not going to do it. And then the choice is up to you whether you want to stay. Is it enough for you? Okay. Let's look at your, and the final thing here, before I leave love, I just want to say patience for yourself. That's the main thing that I'm seeing. You're growing, you're doing a great job. And I think that it's not so much about the other people at the moment, but if you are married or if you are partnered up, do make sure that both of you are being taken care of and that you're giving them some love and that they're giving you some love as well. All right, your destiny card is all about like razor sharp focus here. So I feel like you can do anything that you set your mind to, as long as you know where you're going. And you know, with a bow and arrow, you only have so many arrows that you can use. You know, this usually only holds what, like 8 or 10. So really make sure that you're using each opportunity to the most, to its best, and that you don't sort of just squander something. So stay focused, stay balanced, stay in this sort of higher energy. And I feel like some really great things are going to come through for you. Let's do a mini review, and then we're going to go a little deeper. And as I look at some of the questions this month, I really want to look at, I'm going to write these down so I don't forget. I'm curious about the accountability that I'm seeing here, since we had both the Moon and the Seven of Swords. So I'm going to ask a question about accountability. And I'm just going to sort of roughly look at that in relationships as well. I think I might be able to do the two together. So accountability in relationships, and then maybe finding balance, because it came through in both the kangaroo totem and then also in the center. So just achieving balance, and then we'll do a wild card. So let me just put those there so I don't forget them. And let's take a look at your mini review, and then we're going to go into some of those deeper questions for you. Okay, so as I said at the beginning, your spirit totem this month is the kangaroo. The messages that it brought through were that you have this sort of inner strength to do whatever you need to. Speed is picking up. You need to stay balanced during this situation and in this moment in time. And the divine feminine energy that is present and available to you is actually what's allowing you to get to the Nine of Pentacles that we saw here. Kangaroos can move really, really fast, and I have some particular stats here. But the important thing for you is that you can do whatever you want. This is the focus energy that we saw here, right? If you keep your mind on the end goal, take that leap of faith, and maybe it's going to be bigger and taller than you thought. I think the key thing is to get something moving. Sometimes you might be the one that's moving and the other people around you don't get it. And that's where there might be a separation or some sort of movement away from something. Anyway, things are moving fast. Be prepared to multitask. We saw the rapid movement with the Eight of Wands here. We were also talking about the close relationship between mother and child. Thankfully, we didn't get a Five of Pentacles card. So I really feel like a lot of this has to do with these sort of milestones that we talked about, 3, 6, 9 months out, and also not letting someone take something from you before the time is right. And with the cycles that are happening, people may be coming through and wanting you to be a mentor. They might be wanting some of your help, and you have to be honest with how much you can give. Not overdoing it is really important. If there is any sort of family wounds, you want to heal or discard that earlier so that you can focus on growth and abundance. And with the Seven of Swords here, making sure that you don't get taxed out. Say no if you can't do it. Say no if you don't want to do it. And make sure that other people are being honest too. The tailbone and the tail came through because kangaroos use this for balance. So for you, pay attention to the sacral area, the sacrum, the chakra associated there. I would say actually the first and second chakras are important because this is going to help you with your power, even though we normally associate that as the third chakra. If you don't have the capacity to feel supported and safe, it's going to be really hard to do what you want to do. Fighting back is important, but not necessarily physically doing it. Instead, use your words, use eye contact, and also use the sort of posture that you carry yourself with to indicate, I mean business, right? I was also shown this sort of dent in a car, and it was on the left-hand side. And it seemed pretty small to me. For some of you, this could just be a brush with someone in your life, someone unexpected, someone new. I felt like at work, it could be a little bit more, and you want to be careful there. And it could deal with someone just not coming through doing what they said they would. And at that point, you just have to hold them accountable and move on. I felt like this was just a minor sort of bump in the road. So don't let it take you off course, okay? Don't rush into a conversation. Don't rush into a situation too quickly either, because I feel like those are things that could get you into a sort of tricky situation, and it's avoidable. So try to avoid that. Okay, so let's move along to your catalyst card this month, which is the ring. The ring is really reminding you of the importance of not promising everything. And also, if somebody in your life is not ready to stand up to their own promises, then this is really them showing their true colors. Something better is awaiting you. So being realistic, accepting someone if they say that they can't do it, and looking beyond that situation. And also, when it comes to your products, your services, or anything in your life, don't give it all away. That's basically what we see here. You should have a part in that. You should be able to, especially if there's money, abundance, and opportunity, you should be able to take part in that. Balance in general is the main message here. We have a busy sort of energy, which is touching the 10 of Wands and the 9 of Pentacles. So we look at this, it's all abundance. Balance, 2 of Stones, 2 of Pentacles, leads to 8 of Wands, 10 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles, or busyness, community, abundance, graduating, moving on, and a lot of money or a lot of independence. So it's very good what we see here, but the balance is the key to it. That's the center. You have the capacity to do it. As the Empress card coming through here, it's also reminding you that you may need to be the boss. You may need to take this into your own hands. You definitely don't want to give up all control. Honesty is important. Don't be afraid to look at things that scare you. If anyone in your life is operating from the energy of the moon and the 7 of Swords, it's time to step away from that. If you are operating from that, you won't get away with it this month, so don't do it. The 9 of Pentacles is really, really good. That's showing me where your potential is. Again, sustainability, independence, a lot of growth. I like it. But we see him holding the snake there. You're going to have to really take an active role in this as well. Listen to what's coming through here. The moon card reverse can be like intuitive energy that's not being listened to, so listen to it. Personal happiness and stability is important. Some of you may just be carrying a lot of emotional stress or energy right now, so take your time. Playful energy is going to help you come out of that. Having fun, it's right next to the joy card. So I see the otter is very joyful, very playful, a good builder sort of energy, but joy and passion are a part of that. So if that's missing from the equation, he's not fully empowered. 6 of Stones, 6 of Pentacles, basically saying you have what it takes. Don't let people take too much. Interesting that this rake is broken. You might have to use different tools, different resources to get the job done, but you'll get it done. Honesty, accountability, and life after failure, death, or some sort of a misstep. Very similar message to what I was bringing through with Aquarius yesterday. There's something that's happening that may seem like it's a setback, but it's actually a chance to fly and move beyond. Happiness and joy is important to your health. We already talked about balancing the sort of the way you're carrying things. That's important too. Sleep is important. Paying attention to how fluid is moving through your body. Any of these things are off, or if balance is off, you need to talk to your doctor. For wealth, set an intention, believe in yourself, make something positive out of something that isn't so positive. To use a sort of botanist reference here, it's kind of like taking manure. And so you're taking something like that and using it as fertilizer. When that kind of junk happens in your life, take it, recycle it, and make it fertilizer. And good things will happen from that. But speak your mind so that others can hear it. Make sure that everybody's carrying an even load, or taking turns at least carrying the load. Be patient with yourself. A lot of inner growth is happening. It looks like 3, 6, and 9 months out, there's some really nice sort of milestones for you. With other relationships, if you're looking for love, be patient. If you're in love, find balance. If you're single and happy, finish what you started here with a career or work opportunity. Finally, focus is the most important thing here. If you lack it, then everything, including the balance card at the center, just kind of teeters. So you really need to know what you want. And that's your homework assignment. If you don't know what you want, spend some time. And working with cards like this, it's helpful sometimes, because it forces you to find a way to bring everything together. So if you can write it on a single card, it's a good goal. If it has to keep going and going and going, it might need some editing. All right, let's dig a little deeper into the soul path. And let's see, I was going to start with relationships. I misplaced the card. But what I want to look at was here it is. Okay, accountability and relationships. So let's look at accountability and relationships, and then let's look at overall balance. And then I'll do a wild card, and then we'll do a question for you at the end. All right, so let's look at what was happening between the Moon card and the Seven of Swords, because if I was doing this reading for myself, that's something that I would really be curious about. The Lovers. Okay, so accountability in relationships. This is really interesting because we see the sort of way that these two people are tied together, and that was one thing that I was talking about with the Ring card. And this for relationships in general, I think it is if that person can't be accountable, to try to remember what it was that originally brought you together. And to see, again, if there's a way. For some of you, you can work past it, but for some of you, you can't, and that's okay. And I think it's to always bring it back to a place of love. I had a Reiki teacher once that reminded me that even with people that you don't like, people that are doing things that aren't nice to you, she said, at the soul level, forget about what this person is in this lifetime, but way up in their higher self, it's love. Something happened along the way where it got twisted, where it got bent, where something didn't work out. And they're no longer in that resonance of love. So the way to heal it, the way to move on is to stay in the resonance of love, especially when, or even when, someone else has lost their way. So rather than exacerbating, arguing, pushing, fighting with someone, it's just, sometimes it is about letting go. So if you held up your end of the bargain and they can't hold up their end of the bargain, and they're not willing to, and you love them and you really don't want to kind of create this negative energy, sometimes it is nice to just say, enough now. One thing that I also try to do is to not create new karma. So I would maybe try to resolve the old karma between the other person and between me. And then I would want to not have anything else to do with the person. I just don't want to create additional problems so that I don't have to see them in another lifetime. So that's something that I'll do sometimes with the tricky person, is just like, how can I resolve it? So this is the last time that I meet them. So acting with love, acting with grace, and removing any sort of cords or it needs to be unconditional. I love this Forest Lovers card, but it does feel very tied together. And love sometimes needs to be unconditional and free. So it feels like releasing the bonds and seeing what happens, and being willing to call your own bluff and walk away if you need to. But on the bright side, I see new love coming in, and I kind of saw that with that weird car metaphor that came through. It's not necessarily something bad. There might be something or someone better that is knocking on the door, pushing their energy in. And the sooner you let go of something or someone, the sooner that happens. So it could be a job, it could be a person, but it feels like there's a better opportunity waiting for you. And letting go, not trying to hold on, not trying to tie that person down, is key. They're either going to do it or they're not. And if they couldn't do it before and they consistently have trouble committing or valuing themselves, then it's not going to happen. So value yourself. But ultimately, this is a great card for you. If we take the other person out, if we stop looking at accountability, this actually kind of spills over into balance, which is love yourself, and someone else is going to come in that sees what's good about that situation. Love should be reciprocated. So love yourself, love what you're doing, exist in the frequency of love, and someone else will be interested in what you have to offer. I'm now going to go into a different direction because the balance kind of came through with that. So I'm also really curious about how we can continue to get you kind of moving up in the resources here. So is there any messages around balance when it comes to maybe money, time, energy, etc.? All right, so we have the Knight of Arrows here. Arrows in this deck are swords. We have the hawk coming through, beautiful symbol as well. Knights are great because they go after what they're looking for, and the hawk is a hunter for sure. So if there's something that you are needing, you have to speak up. You have to use your voice, basically. And also, you might have to do a little bit of hunting and pecking. But what we see here is you'll find it. You'll definitely find it. Again, there's a little bit of overflow between you and between Aquarius because the kiwi definitely goes and digs around a little bit. The hawk has a different advantage over the kiwi. Kiwi birds are stuck on the ground. Hawks get the bird eye view. So the bird's eye view, I should say. So you might be able to see something way off in the distance, again, that someone else doesn't understand. So your vision, your creative vision, your intuitive vision is heightened. So I want you to trust it. And if other people see it, great. If not, that's okay, because you're already a couple levels above. Some people only see what's around them. You're looking at what's beyond, what's above. So for resources, get the bird's eye view, get the long distance sort of idea of what you're trying to accomplish. And I think you're going to be A-okay with that. Let's do a wild card. The wild card is just what else haven't we focused on that you need to see. And don't worry, like I said at the end, you can ask me psychically one more question and I'll pull a card. But between now and then, let me just see what else I can pull for you. Okay, I like this. Six of Wands is a great card. It's success. Slightly different interpretation in this particular visual. We see abundance. We see all these sort of fruits, vegetables, like a harvest. And we see a fire where everyone's going to come. What I like about Six of Wands that are empty is that it's basically saying, you know it. This is piggybacking off of what we just said. You see what you can do. You know what you can do. And that's actually what's going to bring it in. So whenever a Six of Wands has a ton of people around you, or it's like an actor on a stage, or it's the person riding in on the horse and everyone's applauding them, that's fine. But there's also sometimes peer pressure or a desire to like play to the crowd. So for this one, there's none of that. There's this sense of it feels right. It is right. It's going to be, and I'm going to set the table so that this big party can arrive one day. So spiritually speaking, what you're doing is setting all of the foundation into place. I see success on the horizon for you. I not only see success, but I see abundance too. And of course, this is all relative from where you are. But if you're feeling like a lot of pushback right now, it feels like it's going to get easier. Six of Wands could also be ostensibly maybe like June, July for you. It could be at the 6 month mark or 6 months from now. So it could be almost at the end of the year if we're going to go that far out. But let's choose the 6 month point. And then maybe, again, as we're looking at quarters or halves of the year, it feels like you have these little milestones, these little openings. So for you, Pisces, what I'm seeing is like plateau, increase, plateau, increase. So you can't always kind of be up. Sometimes you're up and then you've got to learn a little bit. And then there's another step and then you learn a little bit. So try not to freak out if you're kind of in that plateau period. All right. As long as you keep kind of easing up, you're going to be okay eventually. So I like what I see here. Do it because it's right, not because it's popular. Trust yourself and set yourself up for that future celebration or abundance. All right. Really great cards, actually. One last time, I'll do a mini review of these, and then we're going to go into the meditation, and then we're going to do the final card where you can ask me a question. It can be yes, no, or it can be something else that you want to just get some insight on. All right, so it wasn't the answer that I was looking for. I was like accountability. You can't force someone. That's what I see with this Lover's card. And also you just have to trust. Looking at the butterfly, give people space, and if they're meant to stay, they will. If not, they're not going to. But otherwise, I see love, I see opportunity on the horizon. It's a very magnetic card. So you have the capacity to attract something equal or better is what that's telling me. So if the person isn't accountable, let them go. How to get more resources? It's to speak your mind, and it's to get above the sort of peripheral. So if there's a lot of stuff now, take a moment to breathe and look higher, and then really expect the best. That's the other thing with the Six of Wands. All right, before we meditate, just a couple notes on how you can connect with me, and I'll post the links since my moderators can't do that today for some reason. I just want to say, if you'd like to follow me on social media, please do. I put reminders all the time on what's going on today, especially Instagram. And if you like my dog, I post a bunch of pictures of him there. So Instagram, Facebook, and also on Twitter, I will use stories or tweets to remind you. My username on most platforms is @Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's at @Ashbaugh on Twitter. I'm going to quickly post a link here. Thanks for your patience as I'm doing that again. Links are getting edited out for some reason. So there's my social media presence. And also, if you haven't already done so, you can only do it once per video. Hit the like button. Don't hit it again if you've done it. You can only do this once in a lifetime. If you've subscribed, thank you. If you haven't, please consider doing that. Over half of the people that watch me don't. It's a nice way for me to know that you're there. You can also show some support here through Super Chat. And again, when you watch this on replay later, you can use the applaud button. So I'm going to put a couple links here. If you'd like to explore other ways to connect with me, channel memberships, you can do it through this link. And if you'd like to get some more ways to give back, including PayPal, you can go to my website and actually that's Patreon, but for PayPal and other things, you can go here. Okay, so I'll post some more links at the end, but let's get into the meditation now. I really want to help you with release, because when I'm looking at the energy around relationships or accountability, I feel like some of it might just be about holding on to stuff. So let's imagine that there's this chance to open up or unravel a little bit. So let me get the singing bowl set up. This meditation usually only takes 2 minutes. While I'm doing this, I want you to focus on what else you feel like you want some clarity or to get unblocked in, and we will pull a final card in just a moment. So since the moon came up, let's imagine that we're going to do sort of an evening meditation. See yourself at the top of this hill during the evening, looking at this beautiful moon, and I want you to imagine that you can actually connect with the energy of the moon. You can hear it in your mind. So close your eyes, feel this beautiful silver energy wrap around you, and plant yourself on the planet. We want to practice rooting a little bit, like grounding ourselves. So maybe imagine that you're picking up a stone and you're just feeling a connection to the earth energy. So as you're doing that, I just want you to feel and maybe say the following things. I am safe here. I am secure in who I am. And I'm ready to receive love and abundance in all the highest forms. And as you look at the moon, now feel this connection to something higher and brighter. And allow the soft energy to come around your body and start to gently work away any fears or anxieties. And as you look into the face of the moon, I want you to be able to almost use it as a scrying mirror and see something that you need to focus on, something that's a blessing in the future, something that can help you. And listen to what the moon is telling you. What should you focus on? What should you work on? And realize that it's a divine feminine energy. So you are being helped even through the things that make you nervous or afraid. So surrender your fear to the moon and open up to the moon to provide abundance, love, and nurturing. We're going to meditate for about 1.5 minutes, and then I will pull one extra card to look at any other questions that you have. Close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, inhale. Take a nice deep breath, sit up tall, stretch out your arms a little bit, and feel in this moment that anything that you were holding on to has suddenly left your body. You could almost imagine that you have these beautiful wings that we see here in the butterfly card. Imagine that you will be able to move forward with greater speed, greater energy, greater capacity, just like the kangaroo, and that whatever was holding you back in the past has dissipated. It is gone. You are free. You're free to move on. You're free to move up. And as you look into the moon, know that She has your back. She's there to give you some guidance this month. And as you sleep, you'll get messages that are going to guide you towards the higher good, the higher light, and love and abundance as well. All right, so let's take a look now at whatever question you might be holding on to that has not yet been answered. And let's see what comes through. So you don't need to type this out. It's better if you don't, actually. So keep it to yourself. Keep it in your mind. Ask the question, though, mentally so you can hear your voice. And I'm going to pull a card, and we're going to see what's coming through for you. All right, we have the King of Cups here. And the King of Cups is a great card for a yes/no answer. So this would be a yes. And what I would say with this is, as long as you stay positive, as long as you are emotionally invested and very clear about what you're doing, yes. With King of Cups, there's an energy of leadership and sort of sensitivity and sensibility. So it is combining sort of cognitive and emotional components and not getting sort of carried away. So stay in touch with your emotions, take control of the situation, and it's a very good card for creativity, for abundance, for growth. So overall, I really like the King of Cups. It also is a great card for showing a new love coming into your life or a new opportunity that really brings you a lot of passion. So it's a yes here at the end. The only thing that I see with this, again, is always to stay in control and in the flow of your emotions. When we try to push them under the rug, that's when the Moon card comes in and kind of tugs back and says, no, you got to pay attention to this. So ultimately, some pretty good energy coming through for you. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to talk about with King of Cups. I think that's pretty much it. If we look at it in context of everything that we saw here, again, unconditional love, looking at things from the bird's eye view, always keeping a positive perspective in what you can do and what is possible. And finally, really feeling what you're doing as well, like letting your emotions drive you in a passionate way, but not getting so sort of love sick or passion sick that you're kind of letting that get in the way of common sense. So definitely connect with your creative side, connect with your passionate side, but don't let it overwhelm you. If you can kind of ride that difference between emotion and practicality, I think you're going to have a great month ahead. Some really good things on the horizon for you. Okay. Thank you so much for showing up, everyone. I know that there's been some weird stuff with comments. I actually put in a ticket on that. So if there's this weird message that the Google moderators are removing stuff, I'm having people look into that. So thanks for your patience. In the meantime, let me just pass along a few links for you. Again, I'd love for you to connect with me on social media. You can do it here. And if you would like to sign up for my newsletter, please feel free to do that. I'm getting close to the time of the month that I would normally send that out. I usually do it right around the last week of the month. I have a collective that's coming up this Sunday, and I'll be putting more information about it in just today, actually later today. I'll make sure that I put it on social media. And there you go. Those are the main ways to connect with me. Also, if you're ever interested in showing support in a different way, I do have a book. It's called The Luminous One. It's available in both digital and print versions, and it's available worldwide. It's really for fans of science fiction and fantasy. It's not a nonfiction. So this is more like Dune or Lord of the Rings, but it's there if you want a different way to support me. I want to say thanks to everybody today that has given super stickers, super chats, for those of you that are channel members, and for those of you that are also longtime Patreon supporters. I really appreciate it. And again, I don't know what's going on with Google randomly deleting things. We'll work on it. But in the meantime, thank you so much. Lots of love and light. And if you watch this on replay, remember below to leave a comment, engage with it. It also helps with discovery. All right, everyone, I'll see you this weekend for Collective. All signs are welcome. Again, it's Sunday, and I'll be putting the video so that you can set a reminder just shortly after I do this, okay? Thanks, everyone. Have a great one. Lots of love and light. And thanks to Maria for your help today. All right, bye-bye.